Guys, today I'll be showcasing you guys like a little Blender intro of Blender video where I'll show you the UI and some useful hotkeys and other tools that you can use to do some modeling initially, and then we'll work our way up to something more extravagant. I'll have my webcam off for the beginning of this video, as there are things that I need to show you that it will be hiding on the top left, such as all of these icons up here, which is the file, edit, render, window, and help. So what the file does, it just opens and saves your file basically, and that's pretty much all you need to know. Sometimes you'll need to, if you want to send external data, you need to pack all your resources into one. And if your Blender's getting clogged up, you might need to clean up your your Blender by using some of this. On the edit, this is your undo and stuff, and your menu search function. And what's really important here, which will be preferences, which I'll show you guys in a second. There's render. This is where you render your stuff. Window, to set up your window, your screen, and help menu, which occasionally helps but not really. And up here on the top bar is all the other modes that you can set your thing in to it's just preset windows that help you do that specific thing that it's saying, such as in the modeling tab it just has more space and stuff, but you can do everything on the layout space or make your own setup by dragging from the top left or top right of the little viewport however you wish to make more screens, and then you can change it into different modes such as UV editor here and whatnot. But yeah, that's basically it. And you can also close these if you don't like, so you can join left, and then join up, and then change it back to default basically. So that's how you can do that stuff on the top bar. Back to the thing that I would need to show you on the edit preferences. This is one of the most important ones. There's a few things that I need to show you guys just to make sure everything goes right, but there are more settings to help you out once you're into these. But what you need to do is on the new Blender now, you need to actually the first thing is the add-ons and get extensions. I'm using 4.3, might look different to you guys, but basically what you need to do here to use the built-in add-ons, or extensions now they call it, before it's called add-ons, and I can just click on Rigify, ReTopoFlow, all everything that I need, and like search it up here. Now I need to go download it from the Blender extension websites, and before that you need to allow online access, so I need to click on that one. If you don't see that, it's over under systems, allow online access, and then afterwards I need to go find it on the web. So if you go to this website, blenderextensions.org, you can go and click on one of these extensions, click on get add-on, and all you have to do is drag and drop this box onto your Blender. So if I go and find my Blender here and drag it, it will just check, and you press OK, and now it will show up here eventually once it's loaded in basically. So that's how you, if at any time we ask you to download a add-on, that's how you get it basically, or extension now they call it. Other settings that are important here are navigation. You want to make sure you have orbit around selection on. If you don't, I'll take it off. This is default off, it's just going everywhere. Whereas if I have this and select the cube, I can orbit around it and I'll never lose sight of it. If I don't have it on, yes, as you can see, I don't know where I'm going. Make sure auto depth and perspective are on. This will allow you to zoom in properly. It will come off, you won't see it now, but whilst you're working on, and if you don't have this on, you might have some like weird clipping issues and stuff phasing through the camera basically. And on the key maps, of course, if you didn't already, you on default it's spacebar action to play, whereas we highly recommend to have it on search, because on search, if I press space, I can search for all these effects, which is really hard to find, and it makes it's harder to do things more efficiently, basically. So that's the one that you need to change if you have not did it on the open up screen. Another thing is tab for pie menu or pie menu on drag. I usually like pie menu on drag, but it's up to you guys. So or both. So in Blender, this is an object mode which you use to manipulate the object. So like just object, but you also need to quickly shift onto what we call edit mode, and clicking up here all the time is not efficient, and it's a waste of time because you want to have your mouse on the thing all the time, thinking about where your model is going to look like and whatnot. So what you do is press tab, but eventually, as you can see, if I press tab, I go through the mode. But eventually you outgrow this and you actually need all of these modes. So what tab pie menu and drag does, it allows me to drag to edit mode if I go and drag to the 3 o'clock stage, or if I want to go to weight paint mode, I can go drag it to the 11 o'clock kind of position, and texture paint for the 1 o'clock position, and back to normal to the left side. So there's having this setting on will like maximize your efficiency basically, and you should get used to it essentially. And other than that, sometimes you need to enable what your rendering processes are, and also your file paths and stuff. But otherwise, those are the main things: your add-ons and your navigation settings. Okay, otherwise, underneath my where my webcam is, other than this to go into different modes of operations and object modes. There are view, which is to help you just like what you see on the screen. So if I turn off toolbox, I don't see that toolbox. And this toolbox is pretty interesting, as it does certain things with selection modes. Otherwise, there's select, so you can select, you can do a box select, you can do whatever selection methods that you want, select your active camera, etc. Add, this is a hotkey which you should remember is Shift A. This will bring up all the boxes so you can add more meshes, all your primitive shapes to start sculpting your curves, your surfaces, everything that you might need, your camera and lights and everything that you need. And then objects, this is going to be important because it's like copy and paste how it's shaded, but you can also get onto this by right clicking on the object specifically as well. And the most important one here is set origin. So the origin, if I take off my 3D cursor here, if I remember how, this is the 3D cursor. This helps you just place objects around. There's an orange dot in the middle of the center of this cube. That's the origin of the object. And how you go about what it means, this origin means that if everything revolving around this object will start from that center spot, as you can see, this whilst I'm dragging and rotating, this will rotate from that origin point. You can also move stuff using these tools on the side. As you can see, this moves left and right. Control Z to go back, rotation. If you click on these lines, these will rotate on an axis, scale, etc. And this is just everything. But for Blender users, they keep it quite rare because the hotkeys are very, very good for this. So for example, G is to move. It moves around this origin point. S is to scale. G is not for unfortunately, M is for move, but G is for grab, which moves it. R to rotate. And each of these operations, if you press Z afterwards, so like you don't have to hold it, you just press R once and you press Z, this will rotate around the Z axis. And if I press X now, it rotates around the X axis. Y will rotate around the Y axis. And if you want to do, this will be hard to do, but if I type in the number, as you can see on this area right here, where it says rotation 1004 whatever, if I put in 45, if I just type in 45 and press enter, that's what will allow me to just set it to 45 degrees on the y-axis, which is very useful. Other than that, if you press N, you get this secret menu. This will show you what has happened to it. And if I ever want to reset something to like 0, I have my 45 degree on the y-axis, cube on 0. So that's a quick way, and you can also find it on this little panel over here, which is all your modifiers and stuff, which will lead me on to yeah, it's like some render settings. The only things that you need from here mostly is the material settings and the modifiers, and sometimes this one. I mean, they're all useful, but the one that you'll use the most is this one, this red one, this spanner, and this one. And yeah, so what else you can see on the screen is you can see what you can see. So if I take away some of these, you can, as you can see, it's slowly ooh, I'm messing it up here. They just turn it back on. That just makes your screens less cluttered. If you need to see more things and you have loads of like random UI on your screen and you need to have a good view, this is the same thing, but this is for like gizmos and navigation and stuff. This one is for like face orientation, so if you can see if your objects inside out, just other stuff that you might need. This one's X-ray mode, wireframe mode, solid view mode. Let me just make it not blue, like there. This is shaded mode, and this is final render view, which the light will affect. We have a light here. As you can see, a default normal like default opening screen. You have a camera, cube, and light, so you can see it's being affected by light, basically. Cool. And finally, up here is your stuff. It's basically your layers and your objects and stuff, like Photoshop. However, this is not affected by like what's on top and what's not. It's just a whole list of what's there, basically. Cool, let's get on to the more nitty-gritty part. So I talked about the origin point, which makes it rotate around. There's a few ways to change where this where this origin point actually formulates. Let me just turn this back onto gray mode, or what they call it, viewport shading. So one way to do that is if you press Control full stop allows you to bring up this menu, which allows you brings you the XYZ value, and all you can do is, like, for example, I can just put it off the screen, and now the thing will rotate around here, around that axis, which is important sometimes. There's another way to do it, and you can snap this using this tool. So this will bring you up the snap settings. If I want to snap to a like edge, for example, a vertex is more easier to see. So if I go here, turn it on, so make sure it's turned on, and if I move it, hover over here, now I'm snapped onto there, and I can rotate the axes if I want, but I did not want to do that. And then, oh, sorry, I just pressed too much hotkeys. Now it rotates around that corner. The Blender way to do this is if I were to go back to this menu to reset it, set origin to geometry, so it sets it back to the middle of this object. I can go and finally go into edit mode. So edit mode, this is where I can select my more definite positions, so like my vertices, my edges. If I press 2, or up here, if I select this, you should use the hotkeys for this. It's 1, 2, and 3. I can move all of this, rotate it the same way, and also 3 for the faces. I can select that, and if I press Shift S, I can move my cursor to select it, which moves my 3D cursor to there. And if I go back to my set origin, I can set origin to 3D cursor, and now my 3D cursor is what is in the middle of this face, which allows me to do rotate it around and do other things around. So that's really important to know in certain productions. You'll see it once you do more modeling, basically, and you'll be like, why can't I just extrude from here and whatnot? But yeah, that's a general that's a whole screen, and we'll go a bit deeper into the edit. A few more things I did not mention is up here there's a few things, such as this is proportional editing. If you have this on and you're in, for example, edit mode, and if I press G now, oh wait, I don't have it on at the moment. If I press G, and scroll up or down, this will affect in a proportional way depending on this curve shape what other things is affected with it. If I have it not on, it will just pull that one point. This is the same with the edges and stuff. Global, local, and all of this stuff is how the cursor will face. So for example, this is a global mode, so this is the blue arrow, which is the Z axis up here, will always face upwards. But as you can see, this object was originally, because I tilted it 45 degrees, Z on this object would be facing 45 degrees this way. So if I put this into local axis, as you can see, this will give me the blue arrows going up, and this will allow you to go edit, manipulate the shape in a way that it's in line with the set the shape's local axis basically. Otherwise, let's go on to more tools. As you can see, there's more tools that come up here, right? And the first few tools is add a cube, which is essentially just if I were to make a mesh and make a plane, I can make two cubes in the same thing, but it's in this one cube layer basically. If I were to be on object mode and do that the same thing and make a cube, I get a new cube, as you can see. And this is important because to keep the scene organized, if it's one object, technically one object, this will keep it a bit more organized. The next thing we can do is yeah, I'm just using hotkeys as well, but there are buttons for it. It's better to get used to with the hotkeys. And there is extrude. So if I go to select the face, I can extrude this, and this makes another thing. I can also press E, which does the same thing, to extrude. Another thing I can do here is if I select, for example, all of these, or actually let's do like random things like this to get more thing. If I press E now, I can extrude all of them, but they all go in the same direction. However, if I press Alt E, this will give me the extrude menu option, which allows me to extrude faces along normals. And if I do that, it will extrude it on normals, and it gives you a different result, but that's not the one that I want. Maybe extrude individual faces allows me to extrude like so. So yeah, there's many options here. There's one manifolds as well, etc. Inset faces. So inset faces, if I were to use that button, for example, and click on a face, I can put a inset a face into it, and this will give you a natural topology on it. If I were to press I, that will do the same thing, as you can see. And now I can also extrude it in or outwards, and this will give me like a nice little layer, like a little indentation kind of thing. Bevel, this will for example, if I select this edge or select this edge and bevel it, this will give me a chamfered edge. Alongside of that, if I use this button and scroll up or down, this will make it give me more edges as well, and make it a smooth chamfer instead. So this is good for hard surface modeling. The hotkey for this is B. So if I select this edge and press Control B, this will do the same thing. I can scroll up or down to get more or less edges. As you can see, now we're making cool shapes. If I were to select faces like this face, this will that's not the best face to do, because this will do something weird over here, but I'll do it anyway. If I were to bevel this will get this will bevel like so, bevel everything. And I can also scroll up or down, so I can get faces like that. But that was not the best practice to do, because it creates this little thing over here, which is fine, but not the best. The next one is loop cut. So loop cut allows me to put extra loops here, and why this is important is because before that, if I were to try to manipulate this, if I try to, let's get rid of that, and if I were to try to manipulate anything here, I can't select anything because I can only select this face to manipulate, or this face, or this edge. But now if I put a loop cut here, so Control R is the hotkey for that. If I select over here, this will give me a line. This will allow me to move it left or right. If I don't want that, I can right click and it's centralized again. And now if I can select this edge and move it out like that. So now I have more options on how to manipulate my shape basically. The knife tool does something similar, but it's more free-handed. So this is used occasionally, but you shouldn't use it too much, as it creates more than a four-sided face, which is bad for topology. But as you can see now, I can, if I go back to selection mode, I can manipulate this like so. But it's best to have edge loops, so all separate objects, so that you can keep your topology good and clean. Poly build, this is a new tool. One sec, let's see if I can figure it out. I don't recommend using it because it does some weird things, but if you guys can figure it out, then and figure out what it really does. All it looks like it does is like it builds really bad geometry, so yeah. Yeah, it's some weird thing, but otherwise those are the main tools that you need to use. There's some more stuff like smoothing and edge slide, but this is just like you smooth out the line, for example, push it towards one side or another, and this is similar with the edge slide, where you can push it towards here or further out towards down there, and stuff like that basically. But that's basically it. A few things to help you out with selection in the eyes. So for example, if I were to select this edge ring, if I click over here, if I go back to there and select this edge ring, this will select the whole. If I hold Alt and select this will give me the whole edge loop here. If I select this will give me the whole edge loop around the shape, similar to this. Let me get a nice selection there, so you can see that whole thing is selected. If I hold Control, if I, for example, hold only one part of that selection, so if I press Alt, this gives me this nice selection. If I want everything but this, I can deselect this with holding Select. But if I want it again, I can hold Select and select it again if I want. If I want only this part of the section, there's 1, 2, 3. I can of course press 1, 2, 3. But if you want to be more efficient, by holding Shift, I can click each one. But if you want to be more efficient, I can click on this one and press Control, and this will just drag it across through here. So instead of having to select each one individually, I could do 2 clicks from beginning to end. So those are your selection tips, and these are important to be able to manipulate things more efficiently. Okay, back to object node now. And we're going to go press A, which selects everything in the scene, and press X, which will allow us to delete it. We're going to start, we're going to use our techniques that we learned to make a little hammer maybe. There we go. I'm just went Shift S to put back my thingy to the middle, and I'm going to make my little cube, guys. Go Shift A mesh cube, which will insert a cube, and then we're going to start making this into the hammerhead. So we're going to press S and X. Actually, S and X. I had my proportional editing on. It doesn't matter which way you go, but I'm going to make it smaller, and then S and X to make it into like a brick shape, like that. And then afterwards I'm going to go press Control A, which allows us to apply scale, and this is really important. I'll actually duplicate this to show you the difference. So this is without it applied, so I'm going to just have I'm just going to duplicate it with Shift D and move it to the side. And then on this one I'm going to have it I'm going to apply the scale. Now if I go to edit mode, select this one and go to edit mode and press Control B and bevel it. I'm going to scroll down a little bit so it's not too high poly. You can see the bevel looks like that. If I go back to object mode, select this guy, edit mode again, press Control B and bevel it with Control B. You can see the bevel looks completely different. It's because we didn't take away that scale value. As you can see, this is the scale value of that shape. And this is the scale value, which default, which is 11111. Because of that, this makes the bevel use some of this information to affect the modifier. So that's really, really important to know. I'm going to delete that. And now we're going to go to this tab so we can add a mirror modifier on. And I'm going to mirror this and hope to, we don't need to mirror the object, we just need to mirror it the correct way. Hopefully that's the correct way. There's only one way to find out, is if I go like that. Does it appear on the other side? It wait, no, it does not. 1 second, let me just quickly find which way it is. Depends on the orientation of how you do it, but I think it might be X actually. There we go, it's the X value for me, it might be Y for you, and that's how you find out. But regardless, I'm gonna because I made this little thing, I want to put an edge loop there, so that's Control R and slide it to one side, and then I'm gonna press Control B so I can bevel it, and press if I double tap G, I get to slide it across. But it's kind of made it a little bit bigger. And navigation wise, to move around the screen, we need to use middle mouse. Middle mouse allows us to orbit around. Holding Control allows us to zoom in. Holding Shift allows us to pan around. And I'm just gonna go and press SX to make it a bit smaller. And now here I'm gonna press Alt E and along normals to allow us to get this kind of shape. And then now I'm gonna go and press SX to chamfer it a little bit, and as we can see, we've got a little simple hammerhead. Now we're gonna make the handle for it. So I'm gonna press Shift A. Make sure we rename things. So that's the hammerhead. Always rename so you don't forget stuff. It's good conventions. If you have to pass your files to other people, it's important that you that's there. So I'm going to go put this at the bottom. I'm going to keep on scaling it so it looks a bit nicer. And there we go. There we have it. There's our handle, but let's pizzazz it a little bit. Actually, I'm going to delete that and start again, actually, because I forgot to show you something. Every time you put in like a cylinder thing or a object, we can go into there's a box that comes at the bottom of left, and we can have it make it like the correct dimensions if we wish over here as well. So for example, I can make the depth a bit longer but make the radius a bit smaller. That 6 meters is a bit too big, so I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, something like that. Sounds like good. And then I'm gonna move it down on the Z axis, but I already kind of lost that window now, so I'm gonna go and put it down over here like so. Nice. Okay, now we're gonna do some we're gonna edit this pole a little bit to make it look more snazzy. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go put a edge loop somewhere here. Cool, you might not be able to see that, but we've done it, and we're gonna go and put another edge ring here, and one just underneath it, and then we're gonna go and go face selection and select that edge loop, holding Alt, and I'm just gonna expand it a little bit so it looks like it's conjoining. And then we're gonna do something similar over here. I'm gonna put one at the bottom, but in this time I'm gonna bevel it so that I get 2 bits, maybe 3 bits as by scrolling upwards. And because they're a little bit too close together, I'm gonna go press 2, hold Alt, and slide that one down just a little bit. And then again, I'm gonna hold Alt and select that, and I'm gonna go and press S to expand that. So now we have something like that. Then I'm just gonna make it a little bit lower so that they're in line, and we have now the basis of a hammer. So yeah, all those techniques, get familiar with them and use go between edit mode and object mode to make little objects that might seem cool. Anyway guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and just keep on building some random things, and we'll move on next week to some more other things you can do in Blender.